Hello, my name is Maneck Wadia. I have a PhD in anthropology, and I made my living as a management consultant and lecturer. I lectured 8 hours a day, 4 days without any notes, to audience of anywhere from 40 people to 650 people. And I was taught at Stanford, and while at Stanford, I developed a field called management and behavioral sciences. And eventually, I ended up lecturing on that subject to many thousands of corporate, military, hospital, education administrators. As I grew older, and now I'm 82 years old, I found that many of my students remembered some of the stories I told them to break the monotony of the lectures. So here's one story which I hope you'll all enjoy, and I hope you'll tell it to your children, because your children will learn a lot from it. Whenever my children, when they were young, complained about some insignificant thing, I would tell them it doesn't hurt, and they would stop complaining. And the reason they stopped complaining is that they'd heard the following story from me as I told it to them and to many of people who came to our home for social occasions. And this story involves my work at Berkeley, in Berkeley, California, the university there. And I used to lecture at what was called the Executive Seminar Center and stayed at a hotel which was historically prominent called Hotel Durant. One day, when I stepped out of the hotel and walked towards my destination, I noticed that there was a young man standing at the corner, and he had a white cane with a red tip, obviously signifying to his blindness. He hesitated crossing, not being certain of what the lights were. As I approached him, I asked him if he would like help to cross the street, and perhaps he'd be going where I'm going on Bancroft Way towards my destination. He gladly accepted my offer to help him, and as I held him by the hand, he said, "Please, let me hold you by the elbow." And so he held on to my elbow, we crossed the street, and our walk was about 15 to 20 minutes long. Initially, we made the usual conversation. "What is your major?" I asked him. "What do you do?" he asked me, and we exchanged some niceties. But obviously, one could not avoid the most significant part of our meeting, and that is his blindness. So I gently approached him about his blindness, asked him what problems it created. And my God, there were a lot of problems. One of the first things he told me was that any kind of handicap is expensive. You have to have money. He needed money for readers. He needed money for what was then mainly Braille books, which today are covered by tape recordings. And this was in the early 70s, and he was telling me about how difficult it was to find students to come on time to be his readers, that he needed help a couple of hours a day to do some of his cooking, etc. As we approached my final destination and I was about to leave him, I told him that his class was just another block away, and should I ask for someone else to help him? He said, "No, I don't need the help." For some reason, I think he felt the sadness in my heart about his problems and his situation. So just as we parted, he turned around, smiled at me, and said, "Doc, there's one good thing about blindness. Blindness does not hurt." Here is a man who is blind, and he finds a silver lining. So I still remember him, and I can see his face telling me blindness does not hurt. So you can tell your kids when they complain about something insignificant, tell them this story and tell them blindness does not hurt. Thank you.